Hey, how's it going guys, Sensus here, and today we're going to be doing an updated Subtlety Rogue PvP guide. We haven't done one of these since the beginning of WoD, so I thought it was time to make an updated one. Quite a bit has changed since then, so I thought I'd go over some of the changes, and pretty much everything that I normally go over in these sort of spec guides, such as talent choices, glyph choices, stat priorities, and just some general information that everybody should know about the spec. So let's go ahead and get right into it. Starting off with talent choices, your basic cookie cutter setup should be Subterfuge, Combat Readiness, Elusiveness, Shadow Step, Prey on the Weak, Mark for Death, and Death from Above. Now this should be your setup for arenas, but for RBGs and regular BGs, you should run with Burst of Speed, because in those kind of PvP situations, mobility is superior to utility, and this is due to the fact 9 out of 10 times as a rogue in RBGs, you're either going to be base sitting or flag carrying, so Burst of Speed is definitely superior to Shadow Step in BGs and RBGs, but for arenas you definitely want to run Shadow Step because it gives you a lot more utility use. For example, you can do stuff like get Shadow Step kicks off and get Shadow Step saps off. It also allows you to switch between targets instantly, so you can get the jump on a target. And as far as caster comps go, you want to switch out Combat Readiness for Nerve Strike. Now let's take a quick look at glyphs. Your basic glyph setup should include the Glyph of Cheap Shot, the Glyph of Energy, and the Glyph of Blind. Now the only one that I would recommend switching between, depending on the comp, would be the Glyph of Cheap Shot, and it would be for the Glyph of Garrote. Now let's talk a little bit about some of the abilities that you get as Subtlety spec, starting off with Backstab. Backstab is essentially your main quote-unquote damaging ability when you're behind or on the side of your target. Hemorrhage is your quote-unquote main damaging ability when you can't get behind your target. Honor Among Thieves causes crits done by you or your party to give you 1 free combo point once every 2 seconds. Next we have Subtlety's burst ability, Shadow Dance. It allows you to use your stealth abilities outside of stealth and also reduces the energy cost of ambush by 20. It's on a 1 minute cooldown and lasts 10 seconds thanks to enhanced Shadow Dance. Now Shadow Dance is where you're going to be putting out the majority of your pressure as subspec. One of the advantages that subspec has over combat and assassination is having that on-demand burst once every minute. Now let's take a look at some of the noteworthy passives that you get as Subtlety. The first one is Empowered Fan of Knives. It causes your Fan of Knives ability to generate a combo point for each target that your Fan of Knives hits. So say for example you're standing around 5 different enemies and you use Fan of Knives once, it'll instantly generate 5 combo points. Next up we have Enhanced Stealth. And one thing Blizzard doesn't say in the tooltip is that Enhanced Stealth actually combines with Master of Subtlety, which gives you a 15% damage increase for 6 seconds after breaking stealth. Next we have Relentless Strikes. It causes your finishing moves to have a 20% chance per combo point to restore 25 energy. Next up we have the last passive we're going to take a look at, Sanguinary Vein. It increases the damage of your rupture by 30% and causes you to deal 30% additional damage to targets afflicted by Rupture, Garrote, or Crimson Tempest. And also if you're glyphed into the Glyph of Hemorrhaging Veins, it will also increase your damage by 30% on targets afflicted by Hemorrhage. One thing I wanted to point out before we move on is this debuff that gets put on your target if you use Ambush, Garrote, or Cheap Shot on them. It's called Find Weakness, and it causes you to bypass 100% of your enemy's armor for 10 seconds. Now let's take a quick look at stat priorities. These stat priorities for rogues are Mastery over Versatility, Versatility over Crit, and Crit over Haste. As far as your actual gear goes, some rogues like to use just the 2 set, and some rogues like to use the 4 set. Personally, I prefer to use the 2 set so I can get that extra versatility from my helmet and shoulders. So if you plan on going with the 2 set, you want to pick up the Warmongering Gladiator's head cover and the Warmongering Gladiator's pauldrons. As for enchants, you want to put the Gift of Mastery enchant on your necklace, cape, and rings, and you also want to put the Mark of Bleeding Hollow enchants on your weapons. As for trinkets, if you play human, you want to run with the Warmongering Gladiator's Insignia of Conquest and the Warmongering Gladiator's Badge of Conquest. But if you don't play human, you want to run with the Warmongering Gladiator's Insignia of Conquest and the Warmongering Gladiator's Medallion of Adaptation. And with that, let's take a look at some openers and damage rotations. Alright guys, that pretty much does it for this guide. If you have any specific questions though, feel free to leave a comment and I'd be more than happy to answer them. And also I'm going to plug my buddy Sative's video here. He made a pretty solid Subtlety Rogue arena guide that goes over some pretty advanced stuff, and it's good to watch that video along with this one so you can get an idea on both how the spec works and how it's played in 3v3 arenas. So be sure to go check that out. And of course, as always, thanks for watching guys. I'll see you next time.